Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, no watches, warnings, or advisories anywhere around the state for either weather or rivers or streams. Fire danger, the first map here, and just about really losing it here as far as fire danger goes. I'd use my imagination to put some high fire danger out here around the central interior toward Tanana. Greatly reduced rainfall occurring anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch up here over the upper Yukon Valley areas, Yukon Flats. So that really knocked out the extreme and greatly reduced the high fire danger there around the upper Yukon Porcupine Rivers. And also here at the eastern slopes, or the northern slopes of the eastern Alaska Range, again, fire danger reduced, no extreme, and the high fire danger barely into the high category. And due to the rainfall over the Copper River Basin, anywhere from up to 1/4 inch falling across central and eastern areas there, that knocked the fire danger out completely, and none really anywhere else, and gone over the northern, southern, southeast coast. And with satellite imagery today, you can see the system dropped southeastward into the western Gulf last night, now pushing eastward in toward the southeast coast, bringing gale force winds there along the coast, back up along the eastern North Gulf Coast with rain occurring from Prince William Sound here on eastward and on down the coastline there. Amounts anywhere from about 1/4 inch or 1/3 of an inch falling, in some cases as much as 1/2 inch. Sheller Cove picking up 1/2 inch of rain over the southern panhandle today. Lighter amounts, that's kind of the exception, more in the 10 to 2/10 of an inch range for the areas north of there. And again, pretty windy conditions, winds out of the southeast, pretty gusty along the coast, and cloudy skies with scattered showers extending northward, mostly north of the Alaska Range. The showers start to pick up, get into the rain here over the Yukon Flats area, more steadier rain, and back into the Brooks Range zone with some moisture extending out toward the Arctic coast. Clearing out nicely today, mostly sunny skies moving into Cook Inlet, northwest winds downsloping off the Alaska Range, really drying conditions out with the low center pulling off to the northeast. Breezy sunny day across Kodiak Island into Bristol Bay there, as well as much of the Kuskokwim Valley and areas on out toward the Seward Peninsula. Even into the southwest here, you pick up some clouds, and there was a little bit of precipitation, but fairly light amounts here along the Yukon Delta coast. A little bit of light rain with that front pushing up into the St. Lawrence Island area. Big area high pressure here over the central Aleutians. You can see the moisture riding northward and then sliding up and over the top of that ridge. And this kind of a warm front pattern right through here with rainfall along and off the coast there, mostly over the Pribilof Islands, extending down to the Alaska Peninsula. And also AKwx carrying rain this afternoon with southwest flow on the western side of that ridge. They had rain and fog there, but the steadier stuff back to the east, or back to the west there towards Shimia, which the front has pushed off to the east. So they're down to just foggy conditions this afternoon, the area of rain sliding eastward there. And again, in towards AKwx, but not quite to Atka yet, sliding up into the Pribilofs northward, a few sprinkles getting up in towards St. Lawrence Island, and then some of that light precipitation or shower activity, mostly upslope flow with the west-northwest winds there on the Bering Sea side of both the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. Breaking out here, dry on the south side there, Pacific side, but some clouds, higher clouds getting even south of there. But very nice conditions, mostly sunny, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay, up into the southwest interior, Cook Inlet, Manuska Valley today, and the Susitna Valley, sunshine, and some of that even back into Norton Sound. Start picking up a few clouds here, northern Kuskokwim Valley, and then you start to pick up the showers north of there and all around the central interior areas, but just scattered showers off to the northeast. More general area of rain occurring there, northern Koyukuk Valley, Yukon Flats northward into the Brooks Range, and that tapers off as you get north of the mountains there, but still clouds definitely, and a little bit of light precipitation and fog in areas along the Arctic coast. And pretty breezy conditions, anywhere from 20, some cases gust highs 40 miles an hour occurring here out over the Aleutians in advance of that front with a gradient. Gale force winds with this front here again off the southeast coast with rainfall occurring and now having spread in just about across the entire panhandle. I'll continue into tonight, extending westward back across Prince William Sound. And for tonight, upper level trough right through here, slowly moving eastward. Now begin to take the precipitation with it, end up with a general area of rainfall here from the North Gulf Coast northward across the upper Tanana Valley, 40-mile country, central eastern Copper River Basin. Again, that'll continue to keep the fire danger in a downward trend, lowering the fire danger. And then that breaks up into showers here, quite numerous over the central interior, north central interior, Koyukuk Valley. Scattered showers of Kobuk Valley, dry back to the west with variable clouds. Continue dry the Seward Peninsula, right across the southwest interior, variable clouds. Mostly clear though from the Kuskokwim Valley here, Cook Inlet down across Kodiak Island, continued north-northwest breezes. And eastern Arctic coast, see a chance of showers as well as eastern north slope, but drier conditions back to the west. And there's still a chance of some fog all along the Arctic coast into the Chukchi Sea, through the strait into the northern Bering. This warm front, lots of IFR associated with this system and the moist southwest flow, but only light amounts of precipitation reaching the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula here and across the Pribilofs. Look for IFR, rain, fog, drizzle tonight, west winds 15 to 25, and a little windier out over the western Aleutians there, especially with that along that stationary front that's holding back to the west. And for tomorrow, it doesn't really move much at all. There's kind of a southwest flow of moisture and another wave developing along that frontal boundary. So that will push yet another surge of moisture up towards St. Lawrence Island. But that probably won't reach or make landfall there until tomorrow evening. Otherwise, lots of clouds, lots of low clouds, areas of fog, light rain and drizzle with that very moist southwest flow, keeping IFR in all of the Bering Sea, probably all of the Aleutians as well. Right up to the Bering Sea side again of the Alaska Peninsula and Fox Islands there. Chance of showers right up through the Aleutian Range. Just a risk over the Kuskokwim Valley areas. That's mostly the Kuskokwim Mountains there. Partly to mostly cloudy here, south central Alaska. For tomorrow, this trough edging eastward, so it looks wet again for the Copper River Basin, right up through the 40-mile country, upper Tanana Valley to Eagle, possibly up to Old Crow, down into the eastern North Gulf Coast, but the panhandle drying out as this low center slips off to the south. Front hangs up along the south coast there, keeps a chance of rain in over the southern areas, but that'll be diminishing and decreasing showers throughout the day on Saturday, and that'll translate into a sunny day on Sunday, where that low continues to drop southward. That'll allow the skies to clear out. Definitely the winds will lighten up as well here across the entire panhandle. Let's look for mostly sunny conditions, warmer temperatures there. Interior Alaska looks pretty wet here with unsettled conditions right along the trough axis down into northeast Bristol Bay. South central Alaska, not too bad, partly sunny, isolated showers North Gulf Coast, southeast interior. That front pushing eastward, rain back into the Pribilofs. Rain reaches the southwest coast late in the afternoon, extending back to Adak and Atka, a break up there on the north slope. Low temperatures tonight for the eastern and central Arctic coast there, mid-30s will be the rule, near 50 for the Brooks Range, and lower 50s from the northeast interior, back down, well, all the way into the Kuskokwim Delta area, as well as south central Alaska, Tanana Valley, lower to mid-50s, 55 to 60 for the Panhandle. Highs for tomorrow afternoon, near or into the lower 70s, Copper River Basin, Susitna Valley, 60s to the north, 30s along the central Arctic coast, and the low temperatures, 50s, not much change in the lows from what we see tomorrow morning, so the highs on Sunday, near 70 again in the Susitna Valley as well as the northeast interior.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First flying weather graphic here for tomorrow. No change out here, a lot of IFR covering the Aleutians, Bering Sea, right up the southwest coast, north coast of the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. VFR south side of the peninsula there, Kodiak Island, into the interior. North Slope, Arctic Coast, IFR. IFR still in much of the central, or across the Gulf of Alaska, with marginal VFR across the Panhandle, northward here across the Wrangell Mountains and into the eastern Alaska Range and portions of the 40-mile country. And then for tomorrow afternoon, that kind of holds up in that area there, right down to the North Gulf Coast, and you got IFR hugging the coast here, very close to Cordova, but VFR in Prince William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, right up across the southwest into the Norton Sound, Seward Peninsula, VFR, Kotzebue Sound, Selkirk Valley, and areas of the North Slope. Got some marginal in areas of the Brooks Range, IFR, eastern central, Beaufort Sea coast. Better conditions to the west, but still marginal right along the coastline. No change out here over the Bering Sea. And Sunday, no change in the Bering Sea, but notice the IFR is pushed inland a fair distance here across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, Norton Sound right along the south coast of the Seward Peninsula to the Bering Strait and into Bristol Bay, as well as Togiak Bay up toward Dillingham. Marginal VFR at Iliamna Lake, but VFR, Kodiak, south central Alaska, some marginal stuff along the Alaska Range. East central interior is looking pretty good for Sunday morning, as well as the western North Slope and Brooks Range. And then for the afternoon, IFR kind of retreats back a little bit here, but still along the coast and into Bristol Bay. Otherwise, not much change out here in the west. IFR lingering along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Otherwise, VFR, North Slope, Brooks Range. VFR, Dixon Entrance right on up into Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay with IFR hugging the North Gulf coastline. Marginal VFR back into Prince William Sound, south side of the Kenai Peninsula, and right along the coast of Fognak and Kodiak Island in those areas. And for Anaktuvik, marginal VFR tomorrow, as well as that again, occasionally marginal for both those passes. Lake Clark and Merrill, though, VFR, rainy, same forecast. Good VFR day coming up there. Windy VFR. And Isabel, VFR, be some clouds, possibly marginal at times, but I think it'll be mostly VFR, if not completely. But Mentasta will be mostly VFR, or mostly marginal VFR. Tanita, VFR. And Portage looks good, VFR, either entrance, and Chilcoot and White, marginal VFR all day long. And for the freezing levels, 2,000 feet on a cold pool up there along the western Arctic coast. At the surface, very close to the central and east side there. And but then 8,000 feet here as you head east to 10,000 over the 40-mile country, upper Tanana Valley. Really much warmer air aloft here, 14,000 feet in over the southeast Bering, western Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula. And for icing, above about 5,000 feet here of just some isolated areas of moderate possible, especially along the coastline up in that area. Jet stream, upper level low yesterday was here in the, or coming across actually the Alaska Peninsula and is moving slowly southeastward tomorrow, being about in this position here. Strong jet here, 70 increasing to 120 knots, sailing out of the northwest, cutting into actually the central California coast. Another branch wraps back up at around 70 knots here, keeping the winds kind of high there along the central and southern southeast coast. And ridging popping up out here over the Bering Sea, eastern southeast Bering, so you're that 14,000 foot freezing level, and a strong southwest jet there coming in toward St. Lawrence Island and the Yukon Delta coast and Norton Sound at about 130 knots, diminishing to about 100 as it crosses the crest of the ridge. And for the 9,000 foot wind flow chart, pretty windy at this elevation, 45 to 65 knots here, central and western Aleutians, strongest over Shimei and Attu, 40 knots. Eastern Aleutians diminishing to 25 as it approaches the coast here. And westerlies about 10 to 20 in the interior. Lighter south central Alaska, Copper River Basin, southeast coast. Southeasterlies 30 to 40 knots along the coastline, lighter inland. Same thing at 3,000 feet. Westerlies 5 to 15 in the interior at 3,000 here with 40 to 50 knot winds out of the southwest. Western Aleutians into the Bering up toward Norton Sound. Turbulence, occasional moderate chop here along the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians and central western Aleutians, as well as along the southeast coast. After the break, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
Hello, I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite orbiting 22,000 miles above Earth. I can see a lot of cool stuff from up here, and I take pictures of it with my spiffy camera that has 16 different settings. I have such good eyesight, I can see clouds, snow, smoke, smog, and ash, so I can warn you about dangerous conditions and help you avoid them. When storms are brewing, I watch them closely and help with hurricane, tornado, and flood warnings to help keep you safe. And my lightning mapper tracks lightning strikes way up in the sky, even through dark, dense clouds. I also help with search and rescue missions. I listen for distress signals from emergency beacons and tell search and rescue teams just where to find people who need help. But even when I'm keeping a close eye on Earth, I'm monitoring weather out here in space, too. I watch the sun for big bursts of energy, which send waves of radiation toward Earth that can affect power grids, block communication with planes, cause errors in GPS, and damage satellites. Space weather is also very dangerous for astronauts working outside the International Space Station. I warn them so they can get inside where they'll be safe. So the next time you watch a weather report or check your phone for the forecast, remember, that's me. So look to the sky and wave. I'll be here. Whoa! Things are looking pretty bad down there. But don't worry. I'm going to give weather forecasters a heads up and help you stay safe. I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite, and one of my jobs is to keep an eye on Earth's weather as I orbit above. But I'm 22,000 miles above Earth. How does your local weather forecaster know what I see all the way up here? First, I have to figure out what's going on. I point my special camera at the Earth and take pictures of the clouds I see below. My pictures show where the clouds are, but I also take lots of other notes about the clouds. For example, how high they reach into the atmosphere, how much rain they might cause, and when a severe storm may be forming. But I can't keep all of this information to myself. I have to share it with weather forecasters down on Earth. A big antenna is waiting for my call. Since I'm a satellite, I send my pictures and notes in a computer language of ones and zeros. Luckily, the antenna speaks my language. Computers connected to the antenna organize my notes and combine all of the pictures and cloud information and translate them into weather maps. They send a version of the maps back up to me. I'll hold on to these for later. Another copy of the maps is split into smaller pieces. This helps the maps move faster from one place to another. The map pieces are then sent for processing before being sent back up in the sky to a communication satellite. From there, the maps are picked up by antennas at the National Weather Service forecast offices in each region. There are more than 100 offices. I also take the maps that I received and send them out to companies that specialize in making the maps more colorful and better for viewing on TVs and computers. The colorful maps and the maps from the forecast offices then go to your local weather forecaster. The forecaster combines the information from these maps with lots of other information, like model forecast data and radar data, to make predictions about the upcoming weather in your area. And that's how I help you find out if bad weather is going to ruin your afternoon plans. You're welcome. Soon it will be my time to shine. In outer space. I'm the GOES-R satellite. That stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And the R stands for my order in this series of weather satellites. Like my older siblings before me, I'll do a lot for watching weather, but I'm pretty special because I have a lot of new gadgets. I'm originally from Colorado, but my journey to space has a few stops along the way. I'll be shipped in a very special satellite shipping container to Kennedy Space Center. Moving me around is not easy. I'm over 18 feet wide and weigh 6,000 pounds. And then things get really exciting. I get loaded onto an Atlas V541 launch vehicle. A big rocket! Woo! After Atlas and I blast off together, my compartment separates from the launch vehicle and I continue to climb higher and higher. Then I break away completely and unfurl my solar panel and antenna. After that, I have to use my thrusters to get into just the right position, 22,000 miles above the ground and traveling 1.9 miles per second to keep up with Earth's rotation. And then I can officially start my job along with my fellow GOES sisters, where I take advanced pictures for more accurate weather forecasts, map lightning in real time, and improve the monitoring of the sun's activity. It's going to be so awesome! I can't wait!
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis. Still thinning out here up to the north, and then the heavier multi-year ice still through this zone here. And light northeast winds are expected to push this back down toward the coast here from the central coast eastward. May actually push back in toward the coast toward the end of the period for the next 4 or 5 days. That's just a possibility, though. Otherwise, ice will continue to strip off here and move off to the southwest and melt in the warmer waters there in the sea ice-free area. For coastal water forecast, gales hold through tomorrow along the south coast here. The Panhandle sees up to 13 feet. Small craft advisories to the north out of the east-southeast. Southeast gales, Clarence Strait. Small craft advisory with the gale force gusts out of the southeast for Stevens Passage, and light winds for Lynn Canal. Then south 20 for Lynn Canal, 4-foot seas on Sunday. Light variable winds here, central and southern inside waters, seas coming down to 2 feet. And much lighter winds now for the south coast, east at 15 and east 10 here for the north coast. But those 8 to 9 foot seas keep small craft advisories, or 8 to 10 foot seas keep small craft advisories in effect. And for the Prince William Sound zone, northeast 15 tomorrow, seas 2 feet. Small craft advisories for the North Gulf Coast, north to northeast 25 knots with 9-foot seas, northwest to 20 for the Barren Islands, west 25, small craft advisories for Kamishak Bay, northeast to 10 for Cook Inlet. And those pick up considerably on Sunday. We've got south winds 25 to 30 knots for Cook Inlet with 7 to 8-foot seas, southwest 20 for Kamishak Bay. Light southeasterlies for the Barren Islands, and east-southeast at about 10 to 15 for the North Gulf Coast, seas 5 to 7 feet. Light winds out of the east for Prince William Sound. And for Kodiak Island, west-northwest 25 tomorrow, so small craft advisories running there for another day with seas 5 to 9 feet. And then Sitkinak to Castle Cape, northwest at 20 with 8-foot seas. Small craft advisories for west winds 25 knots out for the Alaska Peninsula, west to 20 for Bristol Bay. And looking ahead to Sunday, west-southwest 20 to 25 here for the peninsula with 7 to 9 foot seas. Small craft advisories with 30 knot southeast-southwest winds for the Bristol Bay zone with 7-foot seas. Shelikof Strait southwest 20, 5-foot seas. West at 10 there for the east side of Kodiak Island with seas coming down about 5 feet. So definitely not too bad there for Sunday. And here, Sitkinak to Cape Sarachev, west winds at 20 knots with 6 to 7 foot seas. And out over the Eastern Aleutians tomorrow, we've got small craft advisories, west-southwest 20 to 25, mostly 25 here, seas running 7 to 9 feet. South 30 knots, 8 to 10 foot seas, Adak and Atka, and south 30 knot winds extend all the way to Shemya with seas running as high as 14 feet. And then for Sunday, winds come down considerably out here in the west, 15 out of the southeast, but still holding 30 knots there from Amchitka all the way actually across the Fox Islands from the south or southwest. On Alaska Island, southwest 25 to 30, about sums it up for that forecast with 8 to 9 foot seas. And for the southwest coast, north of Nunivak Island, winds are south at 20. They turn easterly at 20 for St. Lawrence Island. Norton Sound north at 10. South of Nunivak Island, west winds 20 knots right into Kuskokwim Bay. Small craft advisory, southwest 25 for the Pribilof, south 20 for St. Matthew Island. Sunday, west 25, St. Matthew Island, southwest 30 knots here for the Pribilofs, right on up into Kuskokwim Bay at the same speed, seas there at 10 feet. North of Nunivak Island, along the Yukon Delta coast, small craft advisories out of the west extend all the way up into St. Lawrence Island, and Norton Sound, southwest 30 knots. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, east 15 to 20, northeast 15 on the central and west side, 10 knots Cape Beaufort to Cape Thompson, and Chukchi Sea northwest of 15. Northeast 20 on Sunday there from Wales all the way up to Cape Beaufort, and then 10 to 15 knot northeasterlies west side and central coast. Light 5 to 15 knot west winds on the east side. For tonight again, trough moving rain slowly eastward. Not too fast, so keep periods of rain eastern North Gulf Coast right up toward Eagle. Showers into the north central interior. Rain and wind continue on the Panhandle. This warm front spreads rain into the Pribilofs down to the Alaska Peninsula, but that shifts back to the north there, but a lot of moisture in the southwest flow. And this front pulls southward, mostly sunny for the Panhandle and wet over the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.